Hello? Is this thing on? Hello and welcome to Start the Beat with Sikes. My name is Sikes and this is my podcast. Before we get started, I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank everyone who checked out last week's episode with Ashley Green of the Northside Chronicle. If you're one of the people who listened to that conversation, I hope you enjoyed it and thanks so much for coming back. But for those of you out there who are new to the show, welcome. Please feel free to make yourselves at home. And as always, there's beer and soda in the fridge. It's a Sunday night, Super Bowl Sunday. I'm not watching the game, obviously. I'm recording my podcast. But for those of you out there that watched the big game, I hope it worked out in your favor, whoever you may be. I'm not much of a sports fan, but I hope you all had a good time and you're not, suffering any sort of traumatic mental state as a result of your sports ball game. Yeah, that sounded a little condescending. I don't mean to be like that. I genuinely support whatever you're into. But hey, I was in Michigan all weekend with Gray Walker. We played some shows. That was pretty cool. We had some mediocre food and some beer that made me feel gross, but I had a good time. I'm not going to complain too much. Shows were tight and that's really all that matters. That's why we were out there. There's no water at my house right now. We had a pipe break thanks to the cold weather. So that's been tight. I haven't been here for it, but now I'm here and no water. I don't know if anybody out there can relate with that. I feel your pain. We bought a bunch of some gallons of water and things like that, so we can do some civilized things like maybe boil it if we need to cook something, or flush a toilet if our human parts decide to work in a human way that would require a toilet over the next 24 hours or however long it takes for them to fix this issue. Yay. Also, last week, me and my friend Walkman dropped a tribute / parody of Hot Ones under the alias Start the Heat. For those of you that don't know him, he is a peer of mine in the underground hip hop scene here in Pittsburgh. He just put out a new music video and song titled The Funky One. You can check it out on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, all that stuff. Really, really, really cool guy. The conversation was a lot of fun. If you're a fan of Hot Ones and independent hip hop or just underground music in general, you should check that out. It's on my Facebook page, Start the Heat with Walkman. And speaking of Walkman, we're actually playing a show together this Friday, February 8th. It's going to be Sikes and the New Violence. That's me and my band with Walkman. Also, our friends in BB Guns and Abstract Theory are going to be on the show as well. It's a late show at the Moose, 21 up, 10 p.m. start time, like $8 at the door, I think. Come down, support some local music. All the money is going to the bands, and it's important, so we could do things like get on the road, buy merch, or just, buy a drink for our friends, whatever artists decide to do with their money. It doesn't matter. Support the arts. Whatever they do with it after you give it to them, that's on them. I also have some other stuff coming up show-wise. We got the next MySpace night is going to be on February 15th. For those of you that aren't familiar with MySpace night, this is a bi-monthly dance party that I've been hosting for the past year and a half at Brillo Box. We do it on the third Friday of every other month. It's a really cool time. There's a lot of confusion. Well, not a lot, but I do. Whenever I talk to people that haven't been there before, it's kind of misrepresented as an emo night or a pop punk night, and it's not really either of those things. While we definitely play music from both of those genres, there's also a whole heckin' lot of other stuff as well. It's pretty much a mid 2000s dance party, mid to late 2000s dance party. So you're going to hear anything from emo stuff like My Chemical Romance to something is off the wall as Katy Perry or a Soulja Boy or anything that was popular in that time frame. So if that sounds cool to you, come on out February 15th, Brillo Box, again, 21 plus, 10 p.m. start time, $5 at the door. It's a good time. I really enjoy doing it. And if that description sounds good to you, you might like it. But if not, It's okay. It's Pittsburgh. There's plenty of stuff for you to do. And one more event I want to shout out would be the next Greywalker show. Our next Pittsburgh show is going to be on February 23rd, and that's actually going to be at my work. It's at the Get Hip Warehouse in our new venue space that we have. We're playing with our friends in Plague Wielder, Victims of Contagion, and The Breathing Process. So it's a stacked lineup of some pretty aggressive heavy metal. If you're into some loud and fast stuff, that is the event for you. Yes, February 23rd. That's going to be like a 7 p.m. start time. I think $7 or $8 at the door. I can't remember, but it's all ages. So, hey, if you're a young buck and you want to come headbang, we got you covered. And yeah, let's get into some quick listener questions. I had some fun ones that came in from the Facebooks. Let's dig into it. All right, so my buddy Gene from Penn Brewery here. Worse at their jobs, PennDOT, weather forecasters, or NFL refs in caps. Discuss. Well, I think I already made this clear a little bit earlier that I'm not much of a sports fan. I don't know anything about how referees referee NFL games. I would just assume in an organization as big as the NFL with as much money that's going into it that there's a lot of shady backdoor stuff going on with money going into people's pockets. I don't know. Maybe I've watched too many crime TV shows or action movies or some shit, but I just feel like there's always been something kind of shady with the NFL. So I don't trust anything that's going on in terms of refs. I'm not even a fan. I don't even watch. I just imagine it's probably not by the books anyways. So they're in the sense of them probably, taking money to make bad calls. I think that that's their job. So them being, bad at their job, I guess they're technically good at their job if their job is being shady referees. So they don't get it. PennDOT, yeah, I imagine, PennDOT can maybe do a better job at maintaining the roads and doing things, but I find myself to be a bit of an empathetic person, and we have pretty uncontrollable weather here in Pennsylvania. And I imagine that, takes quite a toll on these busy roads that they don't have enough time to fix or enough money. But I don't know. It's a shit show, but I'm sure we probably couldn't give that job to anybody else that we know and have them do a better job than the people that are doing it. I don't know. I couldn't do a better job, so I'm not going to talk shit on them. Weather forecasters. I think their job is much like the NFL refs, but maybe without as much pay, to just kind of be full of shit and tell people what they want to hear. But also sometimes it seems like a lot of NFL refs tell people things that they don't want to hear, but I guess there's always two sides to every story. So somebody's winning in a game. Weather forecasters, I don't know. I would say weather forecasters are probably the worst at their jobs when it comes to PennDOT, weather forecasters, or NFL refs. I'll give it to weather forecasters, but again, got to be empathetic. I don't know what the fuck goes into the science of any of that. They could probably do a better job than me. I'm not going to put myself on a pedestal above any of them, but I'm going with weather forecasters for my answer there. All right, let's see. Corey asks, if this makes any sense, what songs are harder to write lyrically, Greywalker or Sikes and the New Violence? Cool question. Never really thought about it. They're two completely different beasts. I think that Sikes and the New Violence is a lot more time consuming, but it's generally easier to write sometimes for Sikes and the New Violence because I can typically write about whatever I want. With Greywalker, I can also write whatever I want, but there's like an unspoken sort of I don't want to say barrier, but there's certain things in Greywalker that I kind of decided that I don't want to write about. Like, we don't really do anything in terms of like religion or politics, whereas those are two things with Sikes I will definitely dive into. With Greywalker, I tend to keep it a little bit more, sometimes personal, sometimes more of like on a fantasy, sci-fi kind of thing, and mix in personal elements. So it requires sometimes a little bit more imagination, because the psych stuff is really just me putting my thoughts into rhyme. Like my life in Greywalker isn't is personal as much as it is like writing from a more fictional standpoint. So I would say probably Greywalker, but at the same time, you know, the average Sikes song probably has 3 times the amount of lyrics as the average Greywalker song. So it could be harder sometimes to write for Sikes just because the verses are longer and there's generally more parts to the songs where there's lyrics going on because it's hip hop and it's a very lyrical format. So yeah, in some ways Greywalker, in some ways Sikes, but probably mostly Greywalker in terms of the creative process. John Knoll, listener favorite over here. He's always asking some funny questions. So this is actually kind of a serious question. What are some of the songs that you've released that you've had trouble with writing / composing? Is there some stuff that you wish you could finish, but it seems like you never will because you get writer's block or you're always changing how you want it to be? Of course. That's art in general. There's songs that I've been sitting on for years that I've just never been able to finish because I don't know. Sometimes with Sikes, I will start to write, you know, on a particular topic and I kind of get everything out that I have to say in like a verse. So it's not really a full song. I guess I could find some ways to make, you know, stretch it out and turn one verse into a whole song. But with hip hop, that can be, I don't want to say like difficult, but it's just, it doesn't really, it's not like the way that I like to approach hip hop. So there's stuff like that where just, you know, I've gotten everything off my chest and it wasn't enough for a full song. There's also been times where just like musically I get stuck on things. That's a big part of why I think collaboration is really important in music, which will, that's kind of a focus on the conversation today with my guests in Sad Girls Aquatics Club. We talk a lot about the power of collaboration between, you know, your bandmates and even outside influencers with producers and friends and things like that, because they put together a really cool album. And I think that, you know, a big part of that album was their ability to have the opportunity to be able to collaborate with, you know, so many different people and get a lot of ideas together and really make the best thing happen. So to answer your question, John, yes, I've definitely had those issues. And that's typically when, you know, I will maybe reach out to a friend to do a collaboration on a song, or it'll just kind of, you know, it'll just be one of those things that it's just a little, you can't release everything that you write, or sometimes it's just it takes me, you know, maybe like a year to finish a song. Sometimes longer. It really depends. You know, like there's a good chance that one of the songs that I mentioned earlier that, you know, I only have like a verse for, something might happen in my life down the line that inspires like the second part of that story. So I always keep things laying around and try not to put a deadline on things. Cause you know, you never know whenever, inspirational strike and you'll be able to, you know, revitalize something from a part of your past creative ness. That's not even a word. Let's get on to our last question here. This is from Kelly Phillips, who has just started up her own podcast. I believe it is called Tapestry. Let me look that up real quick, Kelly. I'm sorry if Tapestry Music Podcast. She has a Facebook page for it. Check that out. I actually haven't had the chance to listen to any of your episodes yet, Kelly, but I do plan on it. I know that you've talked to some people that I know. I know that Louis Snyder was recently on your show from Riparian. I want to check that out. But she actually asked a question about podcasting. Serious question. What is the most what is the most rewarding part for you about running a podcast? And it's community. It gives me an opportunity to meet a lot of people outside of the bubble that I typically exist within, you know, because, you know, I do hip hop and I do metal, primarily those are my two music projects, and those paths don't really cross in terms of, we don't really play shows together or anything like that. But there's a lot of people that I've met through the podcast that I probably wouldn't have been able to meet or get to know if it wasn't for this platform. Today's guests, again, Sad Girls Aquatics Club, being a really awesome example of that, because there's probably a really good chance that, Sad Girls Aquatics Club and Grey Walker are never going to play a show together. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just they're two completely different things. And with my schedule and the way my life is, I typically only get to, socialize with people that are in other bands that I see at shows or out at events. So the podcast is just a way to be able to sit down and talk with some of these creative people that I might not even get to ever play a show with, or even people that I do get to play a show with, but we get to sit down and have a little bit of a longer form conversation where we're not trying to talk over all the noise inside the venue or bands that are playing and things like that, and really get to know people. That and just feeling like I get to contribute something back into the scene that is, a little bit more than just my own music. I like being able to tell other people's stories and give people a platform to share their art and hopefully just help spread the word, just doing my little part here, because I care a lot about independent art and local music, local business, restaurants, things like that. I have a lot of friends from, all over the city that do a lot of cool creative things in a lot of different fields. And I don't know, I just like being able to give them an opportunity to, tell their stories. Yes, I find it very rewarding. It's very time consuming, but I guess what I get out of it makes it worth it. Yeah. So, and you asked another question, Kelly, that was kind of funny. Not so serious question. What's your opinion on the statement that Pop-Tarts are really just fruit ravioli? I'm gonna kind of give this a bit of a hard pass. I don't think that Pop-Tarts are fruit ravioli. I think there's probably some sort of another pastry besides a Pop-Tart that's a little bit more like a ravioli. I can't think of anything right now off the top of my head, but all I know is if I got a fucking ravioli that was as dry as a Pop-Tart typically is, I would be fucking salty. So, yeah. My take on it is, I don't vibe with that. I don't vibe with that. I don't mind Pop-Tarts particularly, but there's something. I don't think they're fruit ravioli. Not at all. No, that's all I have to say about that. So that's it for listener questions this week. Let's move on to our episode. Let me make sure I didn't have any more notes. I didn't. Okay. So how about I'll just shut up now, and then we'll get into the episode with the homies, Chelsea and Marie, Sad Girls Aquatics Club. Let's do it. Sit back, relax, and let's start the motherfucking beat. Okay, so now we are actually rolling now, and I already spoiled the fact that I enjoyed your album when it wasn't recording, so we'll just get that out of the way. I'm sitting here with Chelsea and Marie from Sad Girls Aquatics Club. They just put out an EP called Vodka Wine that you can listen to on Spotify and Bandcamp and probably some other streaming services, I would imagine. I did some snooping. They have some music videos that are coming out soon that I'm excited to see. I saw some photographs. I've been following y'all on social media. It's cool. I think that there's a lot of good stuff going on behind the project. So let's start at the beginning. How did this whole thing start?
Well, Chelsea and I knew each other from college and kind of reconnected from a previous project. And then we had been talking about doing more like electronic based music, and just kind of finally got together and did it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good story. So the project you were doing before was not similar to this. I did see online that there was a project prior to this, but I wasn't familiar with it. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Oh yeah, it's called Side Eye, and it was really fun, like poppy, surfy, bratty. We yelled a lot.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. There's like a fun, I don't know if this is like relevant, but one of the first things I thought of when I listened to the Sad Girls Aquatics Club thing was a lot of like some stuff that's kind of like sub pop based. Like I was thinking like that Kristen Control record that dropped, and like even like that some washed out stuff I was thinking of a lot. And then thinking about, you mentioned being in like a more rock driven band before. I started thinking about like Dum Dum Girls, and I was like, oh, this is all kind of like very like similar. I'm kind of seeing it. And then maybe like MGMT, and then all of that. Like if you threw that into a blender with the entire soundtrack for Lost in Translation, that's kind of what Vodka Line sounds like to me. And like I really like all of those things. So
thank you. That's a major compliment.
Yeah.
It's a really, really great record. And a lot of the questions that I'm interested about are really just in the production and the songwriting on the record, because you mentioned that you had experience in a band before, and the thing that really took me like is just very like the song structures are very tasteful and mature, and to like hear it from like a debut project is like, wow, like you really have your stuffs together, and I'm like super impressed with it. So
that's the first time anyone's called me mature, so I really
no it's great. Like everything sounds so cool. So I'm curious really about the recording process for this EP and what that was like the songwriting and recording process once you decided that you wanted to do an electronic project. Did you have any experience with electronics prior to the beginning of this project?
A little bit.
Yeah, more just on a personal,
Yeah.
Sure.
like messing around level.
A little bit. And so we worked with some people who were like, make a lot of like electronic based music. We worked with Ryan Heiser from Good Sport, who does a lot of like really cool looping and synthesizer stuff, and Dane Edelman, who's in the Lampshades and like a whole number of different projects. And I think that they kind of like helped us with our songwriting process a little bit. Like we would come in with demos that were very bare bones, just like a guitar, a synth, like
sometimes a Casio.
Yeah, sometimes a Casio. And then like the lyrics and the bones of the song. And then we would all come together as a group and like start adding parts and taking parts away. And we explored pretty much every possible avenue. It took us probably a year to record these songs.
No, that's
probably why, like, I think that it came out like a little bit more refined because of that, because we really like put a lot of thought into every choice that we made.
I would say that it shows.
Thank you.
The time spent definitely shows, and the point that you brought up, like working with other people that were essentially like producing in some ways.
Yeah, they were producing.
I think that there's an importance to that is getting lost in the current time that we're in, where I think it's awesome that anybody can record an album in their bedroom and put it out. But there's a certain thing about working with an outside people and getting that outside ear to really craft something like and make it truly great. And I don't think enough people do that anymore.
Oh yeah, it was really cool because it was a weird mix between being intensely personal and collaborative. And yeah, like Dane and Ryan are so talented. It was just really satisfying to have them like pull out of our brains what we wanted, or just like, you know, with any kind of project, art project that you're doing, you can get so focused. Like I do photography during my day job, and it's like you work on something for so long, like when you have another pair of eyes or ears on it, like you're like, oh, this is great.
It's so hard as an artist to like, essentially when you're working with a producer, like you're asking for like a constructive criticism, but it's so hard to take that if like you're so passionate about what you're doing, to have somebody be like, even like, oh, I think that like maybe that line and that song, like the syllable count doesn't fit right with the rhythm.
Yeah.
But you're like, so, you know, it's like some real personal thing that you wrote, and it's like finding that fine line of like, what's good for yourself and what's better for the art for the sake of itself.
We actually had a weirdly easy time with stuff like that. Like somebody would make a suggestion and everyone would be like, oh, of course. Like, yeah. Like instead of fighting back against it, we had a rule in the studio where like nothing was so precious that it couldn't be changed.
Yeah.
So if you came in with an idea and somebody wanted to try something else, we kind of like had a rule amongst us that we're going to try it, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, it was nice to have that understanding that everybody, the goal was to make stuff as the best it could be. So we kind of pushed each other rather than, it was more of that, like realizing that it wasn't a control issue and just being like, we all want like the best.
It's
cool.
so crucial in collaborating with other people to like drop ego.
Yeah.
Because it'll sink into everything. It's like this thing that you put all your heart and soul into, you hate because there's a stupid guitar lead on a song that nobody wanted but that one person, and you just let them do it because you kind of wanted them to shut up, and then it just kind of ruins the art for you personally. There's like all those like those nuances that the outside people that just hear it at the end of the day, they don't notice it. But it's okay to be a little bit selfish with your art, but be selfish by being selfless.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I don't know.
Makes
it's
sense.
It's yin and yang, right?
Yeah, and there's been so many times where everybody's in agreement and there's one person that's like, no, I feel really strongly, and then eventually we're like, oh yeah, you're right. Like,
yeah, that's true. If somebody has really, really strong opinions, whoever has the right opinion usually feels the most passionate about it. So we kind of figured that out early on and just went with whoever was speaking the loudest and the most intensely. We were like, that person's probably right.
It's weird. Yeah. And that's the weird thing about art in general. It's like when you put it out there, it's not yours anymore, because people, and that's the beautiful and scary thing about it, because people will pull out of it what they need from it, or like take their own experience and be like, this speaks to me this way. So almost in that process, it's the same thing. It's intensely yours, but not at the same. It's weird.
And you mentioned that outside of the project, you do photography. So I would imagine as a photographer, you really understand that whole concept of like, once you put something out there, it's not yours anymore.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Like credit out the window. Nobody gives a fuck that you shot
true.
that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. Stuff gets stolen like crazy.
Yeah, it's so bad.
The best part of my career was I saw an ad that I made was taken. Like on Instagram, I was like, "Oh, they copied my ad."
That sucks, right?
It sucks, but then I was like, "Oh, I did a good job if they ripped it off."
But I think those experiences, if you're somebody that's creative in a lot of different mediums, you find ways that it relates to each other and it helps you think about things in different ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really interesting how it. Well, that's the thing that scared me about music is with more visual things. Sure, there's like a lot of ways that you can shoot things and whatever, but it tends to be more finite, where it's like, yeah, I could set it up like this, but I want to achieve this, that, and the other thing with it. So this is the best avenue. But I feel with like music, it's like, oh, there's so many cool things you can do and so many arrangements. And
with music, you're asking a lot from, I hate using the word consumer, but I'm going to talk business right now. You're asking a lot from the person engaging with your music. Like you're asking them for at least 4 minutes of their time to really get something from start to finish. Mm-hmm. Whereas like with photography, somebody might be able to look at a photo that you might have spent hours setting it up, but they can take it all in
all at once.
15 seconds.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But if somebody were to base your music in that form of your art just off of 15-second snippets, like they would never get the full picture. So it's really hard for artists or musicians to get their point across because everybody's just trying to keep up nowadays.
Yeah.
You ever like watch your friends scroll through their Instagram feeds?
Yeah.
And it's like, how are you obtaining any of that information?
No,
just like they're just like looking for a color or something that sticks out to them.
No,
and then like move. Like
I do that all the time. I swear, I'm just like I black out and I'm like, yeah, cool. Or like I'll see something later and I'll be like, oh, I already like that.
Oh yeah.
I don't.
It's a combination of things. It's like that whole, you keep on going back to the fridge because you're hungry and seeing if anything else is new there.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Then you have the whole algorithms where they just keep they show you the same things and it's not in order anymore. Like they're messing with us. I'm telling you. And it's working. I'm freaked out. I'm really, really frightened, but here we are. So Chelsea, what do you do outside of Sad Girls?
So I'm in school right now. I'm at Pitt Dental School. So I spend a lot of my time at school, probably like 8 to 5 every day. And
If you're going to do it right, right?
yeah. So I'm in there a lot of time. I do a lot of band stuff while I'm at school, like in some of my classes. Where I'm like,
multitasking.
I got this. I'm like answering emails to people and like sending stuff out and doing promo. So yeah, because we did do all of our own promo, which we've gotten asked a lot on this album. Like, did you get a publicist or something? No, it was me. Not paying attention in class and emailing blogs.
I could tell that's something that I thought about because a lot of this makes sense, like seeing everything come together. So, you have connections you were able to collaborate with some producers that, helped get this great product.
Yeah.
And you have photography experience. There's some really cool promos that look really, really solid. I'm sure there's some graphic design people that either you're connected with or you're doing yourself. So everything looks really professional. Plus you have previous experience.
Right.
So all that coming together, but that combined with just like these very realistic, uninflated numbers on social media. You know what I mean? It's not like we're a new band and check out our 10,000 followers on Instagram. You know what I mean? That's the kind of shit. It's like, oh, somebody paid somebody to do this. But then you see like, very modest numbers. It's like, oh, this is just a genuine thing that they're slowly building. And I'm really excited to see where it goes.
Yeah.
So live shows. What the fuck is up? You doing it?
We're doing
trying.
it. We're getting there, chugging along.
We started practice this week. We didn't play any music at our first practice. We just ate
started
Taco Bell.
talking about practicing.
Well, I'll tell you what. You may know this because you have experience being in a band together and you're still friends after that.
Yeah.
The most important thing about being in a band is making sure that you are friends with those people and that you're able to hang out, because if you can't do that, it's gonna tank.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So anytime I chat with somebody and they talk about how like band practice is like 75% bullshitting, 25% working on stuff, it's like, oh, you're in a good band.
That's definitely
That makes us feel better.
And there's and I think the other thing too is like, aside from being creative, I think about why I do stuff and create art is because like I was like a weird lonely kid and I wanted to make friends.
Definitely.
So now that I've made friends, I shouldn't take that for granted.
Right.
No.
If we want to sit around and talk about tacos for 2 hours, let's do it. I worked my ass off learning how to be a musician so I could just talk with other people that are musicians about tacos.
Yeah.
And then every once in a while we can make some stuff. That'd be tight.
Honestly, yeah. That's been my experience in bands for sure. It's just like mostly just fucking around and then playing some music.
With live music, I'm really curious to see or know about what your plan is for executing it. On the album, there's this really cool seamless blend of electronics and organic instruments. I mean, there's tracks that have live drums and tracks, at least it sounds like they're live. Maybe they're like live drums and electronic drums, but like it was mixed very intelligently in the way, because there's a lot of bands that will do that, but it's very an abrasive transition where like a track with electronic drums is like, oh, this sounds very electronic, and then the track with live drums, it's like they don't sound like the same album. You know what I mean? Like it's like, but everything's very cohesive on that project in terms of how seamless it is in the mixing. So kudos to whoever was responsible for that mix.
That was Nate Campese from Mr. Small's mixing and mastering. And
what a great job.
Yeah, he's great. He's really good.
So, but with it live, I'm curious about what's the plan? Like, are you going to have other live musicians coming on board to play some stuff live?
So
or are you thinking backtracks or a mixture?
I think we're starting off with like us doing, we're going to play what we want to, guitar, synth, sing. We're going to focus a lot on vocals because it's pretty important. And then I think we were thinking of bringing on some people for the rhythm section and then kind of just seeing what each song needs. Like, does it need a backing track? Yeah. So we're not even sure what it's going to be now. So
you're in a really convenient spot. And I have a music project as well that it's primarily hip hop focused. And sometimes I play with a live band, sometimes I don't. And the cool thing about it is being able to accept any show offer or fit into like different things. So that's a really cool opportunity for the both of you. Whereas like if you want to do a cool full band show, you could do that and play with like some other rock bands. Or if you just want to get on a small like kind of like bedroom pop electronic show, it could just be the two of you and you're able to do that. Not every band could do that. So that flexibility is very tight.
It's tight.
Yeah,
it's exciting. I'm excited to see what we end up doing because right now we're kind of just diving in.
Yeah, it's neat to see. I mean, that's what I like about the fluidity of songs. Is just like there's so many ways you can arrange it, and how, what do we want a live show to look like, and it doesn't even have to be that one iteration. There can be all sorts of different ways to do it.
Are you considering? I would imagine that even aside from the performance aspect, I would imagine there'd probably be some sort of a strong visual aspect to the live performance as well.
Oh, I know. I haven't even gone down that rabbit hole yet because it's
Sorry.
good. I know. I'm so excited, but I was like, I gotta dial it back.
Yeah,
Focus.
I think that'll be a lot of fun. I hope that you take advantage of that. That's another thing that I really, really enjoy and I miss is that a show can be a performance. I think there was like a time frame where it was like cool to just like, just be a band.
Yeah.
But like I kind of miss like shows that are shows, not necessarily like big arena rock or anything like that. But, like people like even something as simple as like, oh, we're all wearing like matching outfits and we have a silly backdrop. Stuff like that's like, oh, this is tight. This is cute. Like I'm a part of an experience instead of just like watching like a band practice, which sometimes it can feel like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we've in previous projects, and I've done projects for other bands as well. Like it's really fun to collaborate with other people that aren't necessarily musicians either, and bring some performance-y aspects to it, which is fun.
There's so much room for things like that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't, I don't want to say taking advantage of your resources because that sounds bad, but you know what I mean? Like if you're friends with somebody that does, I don't know, interpretive dance or something like that.
Yeah.
And if they're going to be at your show anyways, why not loop them in somehow?
It makes it fun too. Like I know in our last band, we had this like, we called it the Babe Parade where we brought in a bunch of our friends, and our friend who's a designer made dresses for all of them. And Elaine Healy. They just came up on stage and danced with us, and they had a really good time. Yeah. And they all became friends, and like they were all artists on their own too. Yeah. And they ended up networking with each other and like making some really good art and connections out of just that fun night of like dancing. Yeah. And we just like
we like to foster that. Yeah.
It was just cool. Fun.
Yeah. There's so much opportunity to curate community in the local art scene in ways that, transcend just like individual mediums. You'll get a lot of music people that only fuck with music people, and a lot of art people that only fuck with art people. And I've always been like, why aren't these? Yeah. It's like I'll have somebody in a band like, do you know anybody that does like photography? And then I'll have somebody that's like, fuck, I wish I could get clients. And it's you know what I mean? And then you get people that, but then you get the situation where people want things for free. And it's such a problem. Like I try to tell people, like, you understand that by paying a photographer for work, you're encouraging and putting more into the community. Like the more that you make this okay, the more people are going to think it's okay to like buy your shirt or pay for tickets to come to your show. It's the circle of life when it comes to the economics of independent art and independent business. But a lot of people don't, they don't think like that. I try to like run my band like it was like an independent restaurant or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, and the set list is the menu. And every time people come to the restaurant, I got to make sure there's something new for them because they've already had everything else.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I mean, we definitely are really, that's like our main priority is making sure people get compensated or like,
even like appropriate trades.
Like appropriate trades.
Or the time for portfolio kind of thing. When we can, provide like something in exchange for them, and we both help each other.
Yeah,
we just want it to be beneficial for everyone involved.
Totally. And like, especially if it's somebody that is super talented, like if I have like a videographer that's super talented, just being able to pay them for something, it's like, it's encouraging to let them know like this is possible. Like you don't have to, work at the coffee shop the rest of your life. Like coffee shops are tight. I like coffee. It's important. But like you can also do this too. It is possible. Yeah. So being able to show people that it is possible to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I would hope that we could someday pay our videographer.
I know. Yeah. Speaking of appropriate trades.
Speaking of the videos. So what's the deal with these? You have 2 music videos. that are supposed to be coming out sometime in the future. I don't know if you've released these dates or anything like that. Or
February 8th is our first one.
No shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's right
it's
around the corner.
Yeah, right
Yeah.
around the
Cool.
corner. And the second one, we still have one more scene to shoot, but I don't know how long editing and color correction everything takes.
Did you do both of the videos with the same people or different people?
Yeah, so we're working with Zach Eisenfeld, who is super talented. He was actually one of my old coworkers.
Cool.
And he does like phenomenal ads and stuff, and wanted to do more creative projects. So it was great to collaborate with him. Super natural.
Yeah, he's super easy to work with. If anyone's thinking of making a music video,
Yeah.
I like highly recommend him. He has really good ideas. He was like always in a good mood, always encouraging,
Nice.
willing to try everything.
Notes taken.
Yeah, he's just been so great
Yeah.
for us. And we kind of met up at this really ideal time where we needed a music video and he needed stuff for his portfolio. And
Yeah, I think he texted me because we'd been talking about it like back and forth, and he's like, I'm gonna go insane. Like, can we please do something that's not like,
Sure.
run of the mill?
Yeah,
So,
I could understand that, just being on that side of things. Like I got a new camera recently and I was just trying to find people
Yes.
to like, this kind of goes back into the conversation. I was like, look, I got this new camera. If anybody, I want to shoot a video for somebody. But like, I don't want to necessarily do it for free. The only rate, but like, I was like, stupid cheap rate to do this video. Like, I'm talking like, just give me like $100 and I'll shoot and edit your whole thing. I don't care how long it takes. I just want the whole price thing for me was like, I just want to, at least if I'm doing it, I want to do it with somebody that actually gives somewhat of a crap. And I know they're going to do something with it. That's kind of like an easy way to tell.
Yeah,
like anybody that's
true.
like not willing to at least throw you $100 for a
Yeah.
fully produced music video. It's like, why am I even wasting my time?
yeah.
But going back to the thing with people not wanting to pay anything, like nobody wanted to do it. I got a ton of people who were like, yeah, let's do it. And then I'm like, okay, cool. Like, well, would you be into just like this small little trade, since I'm going to be probably taking a day off work and do all this stuff? And then like conversation drops.
Yeah. That's what's hard with
It's like
photography and video in general. People
Yeah.
don't understand. And as like a photographer being choosy about jobs, like, like I learned early on, like not to shoot weddings anymore because I hated it. And it was like a lot of money, but it was,
you can't fuck the
But
money.
then I know.
You can't
Exactly.
let like what you love become what you hate.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare.
And then being choosy about creative projects and being like, okay, like I know they can't pay what they probably should be paying me, but if it can be, like at least $100 and it's like good for my portfolio, and then I can get these other jobs from it potentially.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean,
it's difficult.
And I think it's important too, just to get to a point where you, not to be like egotistical, but to like be like very aware of who you are aligning yourself with and like the people that you're working with. And just like, I just want to work with people that take their art seriously.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's very subjective, like what is serious for somebody. But I just don't like working with people that are full of shit.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
such a bummer. It gives me a bad taste, and like I just don't like being around that. And unfortunately there are some people that are just full of shit when it comes to art. I don't know, but hey,
It takes a
what's
while to
right
find
for
your
some
people.
what my opinions are only my opinions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, luckily, like, I think we vibe so well. We're in a working relationship because we're both kind of like psychotic when it comes to like getting something done. And we'll spend like kind of a ridiculous amount of time perfecting something or just like
Relatable.
getting everything done that needs to be done. So I
Yeah.
don't know.
I know, because I was thinking about that. We were talking about like, oh, we get along so well. We never disagree. But I don't think that's true. I think we work well and don't take things personally and just like get the best result, you know?
I mean, that's another interesting thing, and sometimes people don't think about it in a collaborative effort where everybody wants the same thing at the end. You would think, if everybody wants to put out a really good song at the end of the day,
Yeah.
then these conversations shouldn't be a problem. But then you might have somebody that they don't care about the song. They only care about their guitar solo.
Yeah.
So it's like hard to work with those people if like that's their end goal is like what's in it for me, not what's in it for the project.
That's it. It's great to find Chelsea and everybody that we work with, because I don't even it's hard when you collaborate, because not only there might be those factors, and then just like there can be really talented people that you love and are like have all those goals, but they have different taste.
Yeah.
You know, so it's also like you got to find that perfect storm, or just like, I don't know, like my early 20s, I wanted to make music with people, make films, and like do all this creative stuff. And I don't want to say I was surrounded by the wrong people, but they weren't right for not motivated. And
Sure,
I'm rambling, but
well, no, it's
you got to find your people.
it's like say you want a tattoo. If you want like a real crazy portrait, you're not going to go to somebody that does traditional tattoos. You need to find somebody that is into the style of what you want and can vibe with what you're doing. So you might have been around creative people, but they just weren't locked into exactly what your creative voice was. You know what I mean? It was like you were all speaking, but like different languages.
Yeah, that's a good way.
And Pittsburgh's an interesting place to make music too, because like if you go to Brooklyn or something, everyone's kind of like on the same page, making the same kind of style of music. Or LA, like there's like LA rock that everyone's making. In Pittsburgh, I feel like before this, I was in like a heavy psych rock band called Shaky Shrines, and then
They were really good.
and it was really fun. You can also be like in an 80s hair metal band, because those still exist in Pittsburgh. Or like you could like everyone's kind of doing their own thing.
Yeah.
And it's hard to find somebody who's like doing exactly what you want to do.
It's a good and bad thing. I think, you know, you think of like a Brooklyn or another area like that. I mean, those are, a lot of people have their eyes on cities like that. So you get a band that blows up, like, I don't know, what's the first band I thought of is Yeah Yeah Yeahs.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you just have like a wave of bands that sound like Yeah Yeah Yeahs. But we don't really have that in Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
you know,
we
there's
don't do
not, you
that.
know what I mean? There was an era where there was a bunch of Wiz Khalifas, but that's kind of like fallen off now even. So there's no, like, we're not really known for any particular style. And I think everybody's still trying to figure that out. So that's why it's such like a hodgepodge of different, a melting pot, if you will.
A beautiful melting pot.
Yeah.
I do enjoy that though. I think it's cool, but
I like it too. You can go to a show and see like 4 completely different bands on the bill and just be like, this is weird as hell.
Yeah.
But it's awesome.
Yeah.
Have you like given some thought about whenever you start playing shows, what it's going to be like in terms of like the demographic of bands that are in the area? I think that you won't have a hard time fitting in. I think there's a lot of bands around here that the two of you will probably kill it with.
There's so many bands that we admire here, you know. And we've got a lot on our creepy secret list of who we'd like to play shows
Creepy
with.
secret list.
I have no further comments.
With the production on Vodka Wine, kind of getting back into that, there's a lot of really cool stuff. I was talking about that blend of the electronics and the live instrumentation. There's a lot of really cool stuff with like the drum sounds and like panning. There's a lot of cool stuff on like the one track, Oh Billy.
Yeah.
It's like there's the
We were
consistently
panning the drums.
panning stuff. And it was like,
It was actually 2 drum
So
sets.
it's 2 drum sets. I love that because that was one of the first songs we worked on, and Dane and Ryan both had ideas for drum beats. Right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think that's what we did. And we
And
just
we're
had
just
them
like-
both do it.
yeah, let's just use both and like pan them back.
yeah, it sounds,
We cut out parts that didn't fit, so it's definitely chopped a little bit, but those are like just 2 different people playing 2 different drum beats.
And that's what I liked about the organic instruments on the EP. For the most part, we did chop them in a way to make them more like we use them as if they were almost like an electronic instrument.
And I think at the time I was also going through a huge King Gizzard phase, so I was like, yeah, 2 drums. We should do it.
I was like, I had just seen King Crimson as like, yeah, they have 3 drum sets.
Yeah,
Like,
true.
it's so fun to pull influence from things that like on the surface have nothing to do with what your art is. And I think that's the type of influence that's like fucking tight to like take something like King Gizzard and like, let's put this into like a pop thing.
A pop song.
You know, but like you have those fundamentals of just how like studio production and rhythms and stuff work, and it could totally be applied.
Yeah. And that's what, I think that's just what we...
Well, because we have such a wide gamut of music that we love and are obsessed with. So it's funny listening to stuff and just like hearing, like I was listening to Oh Billy and I had the claps in there, and I realized that I subconsciously like pulled that from Joy Division. Like they do that all the time, like that specific syncopation. So it's funny how your little influences, and even those influences are all influenced by other stuff. So it's
someone else too.
I think
wild.
I think one of the things, and you had just mentioned it, Chelsea, that helps with the seamlessness of the production on the album is actually using those organic instruments and almost like sampling them and maybe like looping them in some ways to kind of create something that sounds more like almost like a hip hop way of producing something, but like putting it in a pop format. Like, I mean, so if you take like the way that you probably recorded that album is not much different than the way most modern hip hop is done. It's just, different rhythms and time signatures and tempos, but it's
we
a
even
lot
did
of the same stuff.
We even did a vocal keyboard at one point where we like sang notes for each key of the keyboard and like played a keyboard of like our vocals.
Oh, that's fun.
What did we do that on Goth
It's the end of
Annihilation?
Goth Annihilation, and it was inspired by 10cc.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah.
But,
So
we used we used organic guitar, bass, drums, keyboards, piano.
Piano and vodka wine, that was, I remember, I think that was Ryan's idea to specifically make it choppy to have more of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
with the vocals on the project, is it both of you that are doing vocals? Okay, I wasn't certain. So is it always like everything kind of layered and consistent, or is there parts where it swaps back and forth?
So it just happened to work out that like usually whoever writes the song sings the song. It happened to work out that the first track was Marie, the second track was me, and we just like alternated.
Oh, okay.
Who's singing on the track?
Who's singing lead?
Who's singing lead, and then we would sing back up.
Yeah.
And Ryan Heiser even sang on one of our tracks. If you heard it on Strange Place, the last track, there's like a male vocal in the lead.
Dane sings too.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Dane Annihilation, Goth Annihilation. Yeah.
That's awesome. I was really curious, and I looked online to see like who was responsible for what, but it's all very incognito. It's just like it's the two of us.
We don't really remember half the time like who came up with what.
And like if Marie's singing lead, I'm singing harmonies.
Cool.
So.
Yeah. The two of you have voices that work really, really well together.
Yeah, it's funny how most people can't tell our voices apart. They are very similar, I guess.
I mean, and I think too, like with the way the songs change, they're not. It's not a dramatic shift between all of the songs, but I think the vibes of the songs switch along with the vocal switching. It's kind of but it stays consistent. It remains consistent.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks.
Yeah, I was curious. I was like, who's doing vocals? I'm sure they both are, but I don't know who's who. It all sounds the same.
So I know, like I was trying to, like, because we're going to start practicing soon, and I was trying to do like my harmonies on one song, and I was like, I don't know what part I'm singing. I forget how this goes.
So, this is another fun question. So I'm really into vocal manipulation live. It's something that I do a lot with effects. Had you given any consideration to how you're going to pull off a lot of that like dreamy, reverby stuff live?
I have a couple vocal pedals that we're going to try out. Some of the stuff I think is really important to keep in there. So we're going to try as hard as we can to get that live.
Nice. What pedals are you using?
I think we have the Studio Pop 2 or something.
It's blue. That's all I remember.
It's blue.
I don't know.
It's a 3.
Cool.
But yeah, because we can do like Vodka Wine specifically. The title track has
that's the first track on the album, right?
Yeah,
the EP. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I don't know
the
what
release,
it's called.
the project.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
That has like a manipulated upper and lower octaves. I think.
Yeah, that was another thing I noticed too. Do you do that on several of the tracks? That octave stuff. I felt like I heard it in a couple spots on the album.
I think that was just organically done.
Oh,
I just
okay.
went back in and did.
Yeah.
I remember
okay.
doing those high takes.
Yeah. And that, just vodka wine has like that more that, a machine did it.
Yeah,
So-
and there's that sort of that lo-fi reverb on it. Yeah. That's like there's like, I guess it's that synth that's kind of modulating in the track that's like super like lost in translation sounding to me.
Yeah.
Like as soon as it was funny because whenever I got the link sent to me and I listened to it, it was like 30 seconds in and I was like, I already love this.
Oh, thank you.
And then it was really cool to like see it throughout the rest of the project, just how it transitions and how it goes into all the different upbeat stuff. Because it's not all, I would have been totally fine if it was all like down tempo and moody, but it was cool to get that range of human emotion in the project that, becomes a thing where it's like, oh, this feels like real life. Sometimes
That's
it bums me out when a band is like always moody, or it also freaks me out if they're always on like this excitement level. It's
Something's
too much.
wrong. They're hiding something.
With I guess it's kind of hard to say like what the plan is because you're still figuring out so much stuff with getting the shows and all of this visual stuff together. But you have the music video dropping on February 8th, you said. I double checked, this episode will be out on February 4th, so this is killer timing. So keep an eye out in a few days for anybody that's listening now.
Yeah.
Or if it's past February 8th, go check it out. Do you have a YouTube account or anything set up? Do you know like where it's going to be streaming from?
We'll have it on YouTube and Vimeo at least.
Yeah.
So any other suggestions on platforms are
Do
greatly
you have
appreciated.
your own website?
We don't. Should we?
I don't know. I made a website.
Yeah. I love Squarespace.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a Squarespace user as well. I
Nice.
I got so tired of telling people to look us up on, we're on Facebook. Just find us on Facebook. It's nice to just be like, no, like here's our website.
Sadgirls.biz.
But the sad thing is, people you probably don't even get anybody's attention unless you're like Instagram.
Yeah.
And then people look, huh? What?
I know.
Yeah.
How?
We like our Twitter. That's our favorite one.
I'm so bad at Twitter. I don't know. I mean, it's like I've mentioned this before. All the different social medias. If you're in I don't want to say you have to have all of them, but you kind of need to have some sort of an identity on all of them. Because the one thing that I hate is whenever, like, if there's a show coming up, and like everybody gets tagged but you. It just makes you look like you don't have your shit together. It's like. It's so dumb, but like I overanalyze things like that. So it's like I guess I'll make, but then you make the account and it's like, oh, okay, cool. Like I made this account and we have like fucking 2 followers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's better than not getting tagged, I guess.
Then you have to like
At
pester your family and friends with like invites to like your page.
Yeah.
I'm like, sorry, I just want to send an apology.
You shouldn't have to apologize, like I know that feeling.
Yeah.
Totally. I think for a long time that feeling hindered me. As an artist in terms of networking and getting my stuff out there. Because I felt bad about sharing it with people, but that's such a silly thing.
It is because like I always felt like that. And then I thought about it. It's like, man, when somebody sends me a request, I'm like, oh, that's great. They're doing their thing.
I'm so
or I'm
excited.
never like,
I'm excited to see my friends or just people in the city doing things that are cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hence
I
you
get
two
excited.
sitting here right now. But it's like, yeah, so
I just feel like my family members are like another band to
I know.
like. Great.
Do you have a job or a boyfriend? Okay.
Wow, you're in a new
Good
band
job,
again.
how is family supportive of the creative endeavors?
Yeah.
To a
I think
degree.
so.
My
Your dad's
family
really
is
into the
super. My family's super supportive, which is cool. Yeah.
Ray's dad was in the studio with us, like, helping us mix and
He's-
master.
Yeah, he's
Does he have a background in that?
he's a very good musician.
Cool.
And he's super smart, which is, I mean, I didn't get any of that, which sucks, but
I don't think that's true. Don't beat yourself up like that.
no. But yeah, it was really cool and special to have that because I had previous projects before and I think they were like, oh, that's cute, and it was nice for like, he's a man of few words. So he's just like, oh, wow, these are some really good songs. So it's like, oh.
This goes back to what I said earlier.
Yeah.
Mature songwriting.
Yeah.
Even your family recognized it.
Yeah, which is nice. Yeah, and like I have my aunt and uncle are super into it too, so it's nice.
That's great.
Very lucky, yeah.
With kind of social media, let's go back to that, and then we'll wrap up, because you're going to be getting into this. I mean, you already have social media accounts, and you mentioned Twitter's your favorite and things like that, but how do you feel about, that social media in your personal life, and then having to combine it with like this creative thing? And eventually it's all going to get mixed together unless you're really good at keeping it separate. Have you like given any thought on how you want to manage this moving forward? Or is it just not a big deal?
Do you mean like your personal account with your band account?
Yeah, because for me, it's like, let's post something on the band page, and then I'm going to share it from the personal page. And it's like, well, why do I even have the band page if I'm sharing it from the personal page?
Right. That's
but also,
how
I get worried that nobody's
yeah.
going to see it if I don't share it from the personal page.
Yeah.
So, but I'm trying to it's like, as much as I want those worlds to be separate, they're not, because it's like, this is who I am. Like, I do music full time.
Yeah.
So I'm in it always. So it is part of my personal life, but it's also like, maybe on my Facebook, I just want to talk about like tacos. Maybe I don't want to share my links to my stuff all the time.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm just overanalyzing it. Like, I overanalyze everything. Like, my life shouldn't be an art project.
Right.
So I should stop trying to treat it so perfect, and just let it be what it is.
Yeah. I kind of tried to do something like that. Like, hey, I'm not going to post about the band on my personal account anymore. So just like follow that account, because like, if you care. And then I still post on my personal account.
Yeah.
So it's like,
It's the ego.
Well,
It gets into us.
and it's like, people would be like, oh, I didn't know about it. And I'm like, guys, you don't follow the band. Like,
Yeah.
please follow. I don't want to post anymore.
Even if they follow the band,
It feels so tacky to be posting all the time. Like,
well,
check out our thing.
I used to worry about that until I realized I had friends posting pictures of sandwiches more than I was posting pictures of my band.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Well, that's the weird thing
I
about
appreciate a picture of a sandwich, though. I'm like, that looks great.
Like, totally. If I'm gonna make a bold statement here.
oh boy.
If somebody was like, you have to give up one thing, your record collection or sandwiches for the rest of your life, I'd probably go with the record collection.
Wow, hot take.
That's a big record collection.
Yeah, we can see it. It's large.
It's really nice.
3 of those 8Q by Kia things. He's not messing around.
Yeah.
I see Kate Bush. Oh, how
Yeah.
did you do that?
Yeah, I've been like on a huge Kate Bush kick recently.
I love her.
yeah, she's
Oh my
great.
God.
I was listening to are you familiar with this band called Nikki and the Dove?
No.
So they were another band that I don't know if they're still on Sub Pop, but Sub Pop put out an album of theirs back in 2012 called Instinct.
Okay.
And I liked it when it came out, but it was kind of just like on my radar. Like, I bought a copy of it. I have it. I really enjoyed it. And then randomly it just popped up. Like, I saw it on my iTunes or whatever. I was just looking for something to listen to, and I listened to it again. And I was like, fuck, I forgot how good this album was. And I was like, this fucking album sounds like Hounds of Love. It sounds like Kate Bush. And I was like, fuck, I haven't listened to Kate Bush in a while. And then I went back and listened to that. So
It's so good.
I was like really excited about Nikki and the Dove for a second, and then they got trumped by Kate Bush.
That's like my
But-
favorite thing about rediscovering music that you used to love
Oh my
is like
gosh.
such a good thing
I
too.
cycle all the time.
I go through a lot of cycles.
But I wanted to say about social media, like, it's weird because my personal account's like a fake brand almost anyways. Like, you
Right?
end up like posting, like, it's like mine's almost a parody of myself, or just
Everybody's is.
or it's weird how people make assumptions, or just like, it's everybody's perfect life.
Yeah.
So like, that's weird. I
Yeah.
would want to delete it, but I can't. So
You just can't.
You
Yeah.
could. You just don't want to. But you don't want to say that.
Yeah, I don't want to say that. No, I don't post for attention. God.
It's I don't know. It's finding that balance. I don't know. We're all still trying to figure it out. I think that this generation of guinea pigs with social media, but it seems like a lot of people that are in like middle school, high school now, I think they actually have a much better handle of it than people in our age did, because like, I mean, I didn't grow up with it. You know what I mean? It was introduced in the middle of figuring everything out, but now at least they're able to figure out life with it. I mean, there are some like things that are kind of like scary about it, with like, you know, bullying, never leaving, like it follows you 24/7 for some people. And like, there's definitely problems, but I also think there are a lot of kids that are growing up and they're a lot more adjusted to it. They're not taking it so seriously.
That's good. I know. If we had more social media, like AIM was bad enough for me in middle school. I had like a couple bad, you know, cyberbullying incidents, but like, I can't imagine like with being connected all the time.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah. But I mean, I had a friend on recently who has 2 kids that are in high school now. And, you know, I was talking about this and he was like, it's fine. Like, I love being able to see them grow up and share stuff with their friends. And it's really cool. And they're well adjusted and like their friends are cool. And it's like pretty chill for them. It's just like, it's more of a thing where like adults don't know how to manage it.
Yeah.
Or even like people that are like a generation above us or 2, like those are the people that are like terrible on social media. It's like, they act like toddlers. It's nuts.
Yeah. It's really weird. Yeah. I had like a older friend talking about her sister-in-law being mad that she didn't write happy birthday on him. And she was like, but I called you. Like, and I was like, wow. Like, I didn't think the baby boomers are having a worse time than us.
I remember the first time I felt really uncomfortable about social media was a McDonald's commercial.
Oh no.
And all that happened was I saw it on TV in passing, and at the end of the commercial, they posted their MySpace and Twitter handles on the commercial. And I was like, this is weird. Like, why? Like, this was a thing for like kids. Why are businesses using this? And all of a sudden you're hearing people quote Twitter on the news and politics and all this stuff. And I was like, fuck, this is changing. And I was like, I don't know if old people are ready for, I don't want to say old people, but we'll say baby boomers are ready for like this access to, I don't know if they're like mentally equipped for it. Yeah. I mean, some people are, but a lot of people, it's just like, they don't understand how it works. Like me, I'm sure everybody has a relative that has like posted something to you publicly that they thought was just on your wall, like they post it as a status.
I mean, I think like Evan's grandma is my favorite example of that. Our drummer's grandmother posts to him all the time on Twitter, and it's amazing.
I mean, there's things where it's like I don't want to come off as like sounding malicious to baby boomers. There's a lot of like, it's
they deserve it.
I mean, it's like it's very like it's not, the intentions aren't cool. It's just they're trying to figure out the technology, but some stuff's like it's really, really silly.
Yeah, my mom will be like, did you see this on the news? And I'm like, I saw that 3 days ago on Twitter. Like, you're so far behind.
But then if you think about it, you kind of sound like a bit of a snoot. Like I saw it 3 whole days ago.
I know, 3 days. That's old news, Mom.
3 hours is old news now.
True.
Which is another problem with marketing a brand in today's social climate.
Yes.
You know, everybody's...
Well, that's
putting out
content. We're all fish fighting for that food.
That's why misinformation gets like all the time, because everybody just wants to be the first to report it, so they don't check if it's true or not.
Oh yeah, well they read the headline.
It's awful.
Everybody finds headlines that align with their point of view, and then they share it.
Yeah,
they don't read it.
Yeah,
oh
definitely.
God, no. Like this science says I'm right.
It happened.
I didn't read the article, but I'm going to repost it.
Oh, I've seen it so many times. Like, I skimmed it. I didn't have time to read it. And it's like, okay. It's like, I mean, I appreciate you wanting to share information with the world that you think, you know, align. You're being passionate.
Sure,
and we mentioned before, the passionate people are sometimes the right ones, but they're not always in terms of that.
Yeah. They didn't explore the details like we did.
No.
So you're on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
You're on Instagram.
Yeah.
You're on Facebooker.
Yeah.
You don't have a website.
No,
but we do have a YouTube.
And a Bandcamp.
Spotify. And I think that whenever we got on Spotify, we got on like Google Music and Apple Music and Amazon.
Did you do that through DistroKid or somebody like one of those platforms?
Yeah. We use CD Baby.
Okay.
So I don't know. I liked it.
Yeah. I mean, they're all the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They have their differences, but at the end of the day, it's like Coke or Pepsi. But some people might be very adamant on
Yeah,
that.
I've had some people have some conversations with me and I'm like, I'm so bored right now. Like, I don't care about these kind of details at all.
What's your favorite soda?
I'm a dentist,
It's
so
called-
I don't drink soda.
I don't drink soda either. What about you?
Pop.
Pop.
Actually,
Sorry. I forgot where we were.
I just like everything that's not I very rarely drink it.
Baja Blast.
Baja Blast, maybe. No, I never understood that. I like Coke when I want a pop. Like I like Coke and Pepsi because they taste different. I don't think, I don't know. Like I don't understand why
Sure.
I like vanilla Coke, I think. I don't know. I don't know why people think so hard about stuff like that. And
Because
get
they're in a
upset.
very fortunate position and they don't realize
that's
that.
true. I'm sure there's stupid things I'm fired up
Oh, we
about
all
too.
are. We're
so
human. Nobody's perfect. Trust me, we all suck to some degree, but it's okay. Learning to accept other people's flaws is, I don't know. That's what
But-
makes us good people. I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out a lot still. You know,
Yeah.
but as long as I have sandwiches and stuff, I'll be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
Ooh,
the
food.
important
Let's
thing.
end on this.
oh, yeah.
Oh.
What is
Okay.
your favorite food?
We do a lot of Taco Bell.
I've heard
Band
tacos brought
practices.
up a lot.
Yeah, our favorite, our bar where we go to for most of our meetings is in the north side called Riggs, and they allow you to bring in your own Taco Bell.
I know where Riggs is.
Yeah, so we spend a lot of time eating Taco Bell in Riggs.
Yeah. Sign us to your label.
That's awesome. I my first job ever was at Taco Bell.
Really? That's a great
No
first
And
job.
I saved up my first 3 paychecks to buy my first beat machine.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah. So I have a soft spot in my heart for Taco Bell. But I'm imagining that you're going to the North Side Taco Bell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a hard time at that Taco Bell? I've had
Taco
some
Bell.
of the most insane experiences in my life inside that Taco
Oh,
Bell.
yeah.
It is
Yeah.
off the rails in there.
It's rowdy. I feel like they
It's
don't have management.
lawless.
There's no
Have you ever been to the drive-through past like midnight or
Yeah.
1 where it's just cash only?
Yeah, they stay open past 2, but it's cash only from 2 a.m. till ?
Yeah.
Because sometimes the employees close at 4, 5, 6. Like, there's no limit.
Uh,
I hope we're not ratting them out right now.
I know.
If
No.
you're a cop, turn this off.
We're making this up. This
It's
is
a
not
joke.
real.
that Taco Bell is psychotic.
Oh, yeah.
I love
I
it.
remember I went in there one time and there was like a line building up and like the manager was taking out the trash. So instead of finishing what he was doing, he just like threw the bag on the ground to go around and start ringing out people, but the bag wasn't tied, so it like fell on the ground. The trash went everywhere, and he was just like, "Eh."
He's got stuff to do. He's
busy.
He is
He's busy.
underpaid and understaffed. He's just trying to get the people his tacos.
So I respect. I haven't gone to that Taco Bell in a while. I'm close enough to the McKnight Road one that's the one that I'll go
Okay.
to if I want some Taco Bell.
That makes
But
sense.
I pass because I work in the north side, so I'm close to the Taco Bell one all the time.
That's
And
like
I miss going there for lunch, but I just can't do it anymore.
it's a rare treat, I guess. We do it sparingly.
For meetings and stuff.
Yeah,
Good.
business meetings,
It's only.
Cool.
serious business.
Well, that's it. I think that's enough. We've talked about Taco Bells. We've talked about, panned percussion.
We
We've
love
talked
it.
about social media. We've talked.
For it.
Australia Day?
That wasn't on.
Oh, that was off the record?
that was off the
Australia
record.
Day.
That's
Okay.
okay. That's
Oh, we are anti-Australia Day.
We are pro Australia, anti Australia Day, Indigenous Peoples Day.
yeah. Maybe
woke.
maybe some of those giant bugs
Notice us,
down there will
Pond.
like take over.
Pond, are you
That'd be
listening?
tight.
Yeah.
Do you ever wish sometimes that like dinosaurs didn't go extinct and think about what the world would be like? I mean, we probably wouldn't have synthesizers, but like, I don't
True.
know, it would be interesting.
I mean, my favorite book as a child was Dinotopia, and so I think I imagined a world with dinosaurs a lot. If you've never read it, I recommend it. It's people living harmoniously it's an island where dinosaurs did not go extinct and people living harmoniously among the dinosaurs.
I
and
wonder
it's really
if like
great.
we would have like looked up to dinosaurs as like deities.
Yeah, I think they were like
I mean,
friends.
I wouldn't fuck with them.
In the book, they were friends. They also like helped you get in your house, like your tree house. They would like lift you up in the book. So
Yeah, I would imagine Brontosaurus as being like real gentle and cute.
yeah, they would like let kids slide down their neck like a water slide into the lake.
Oh,
And I
that
even-
sounds lit.
You should read the book.
And I
don't
even
read.
bet that T-Rexes probably aren't as mean as they were, you know.
They're
Definitely
just
not.
hungry.
I think yeah, they just, you know, you just need some empathy with the T-Rex. A velociraptor though, no empathy. Those are probably soulless
Yeah.
creatures.
Those aren't real, right?
Oh,
Weren't they made up for Jurassic? I feel like I read that somewhere.
There was one dinosaur in
think-
Jurassic Park that is not real.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh no,
I don't think it's Velociraptor.
Oh, was it the
our
one that
velociraptors were real small. I think I can't remember, but I think
the one with the thing that the peacock thing and spit
'cause
the stuff out on the guy
That
from
guy was
Seinfeld?
real. That guy was real. Yeah, that guy was real.
Oh,
Newman.
Yeah.
Newman. That was a great movie. I also love Jurassic Park.
what a bad idea, though. Like, how did none of them see that coming?
Yes, some of them did. Jeff Goldblum, definitely.
That's
DNA.
him.
That's
Anyways.
it. Okay.
All right. Sorry.
All right, now that we squeezed in a small movie segment and book segment, we have really covered it all. Thank you both for coming over.
Thank
and,
you for
so
having
much.
us.
February 8th, keep an eye out for that music video
Yeah.
on the internet.
All
Cool.
right.
And that's it. We are donezo.
Thanks.
And that is all, folks. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. Really liked getting to know Chelsea and Marie a little bit, talk to them about their album. If you haven't already, gone and listened to this, I highly recommend it. It's a very, 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 very nice listen. And I've already expressed my feelings about it in the episode, so you know that I really like it. And I'm looking forward to getting to see them play some shows whenever they're doing that. And I think that things are gonna. I think they're gonna do pretty well. I think they have a nice product on their hands, and they are two very nice people. And wish them nothing but the best. So yeah, I'll be back again next week with another episode. Same time, same place, same channel. You know the drill. My name is Sikes. Start the beat 2019. Woo! Woo! Thanks for listening. Yeah.